you see what happens when he caught him. Like, it's like, a bigger kid and going to the candy store and I'm waving, a Twix in front of his eyes. He's like, We forgot about the other guy, right? Eli Tomac. Don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on Beast Mode. Beast Mode don't like when you sleep on him. Normally, like, that's what happens in the scary movie. You're sleeping. You wake up. There's Beast Mode. There's Jaws. Well, Jaws wouldn't be sleeping. There's Jason, Freddy Krueger. Like, always nightmares. Wake up, That's how it was. We were talking on the podium. They asked him a question, JT, and he was like, you had some good lines. And dude said, like, I was born with that. Like, what? Like, what? Mama said she was going to take them keys. Shit, I just got this car. I just ordered some new rims for her. I just got the tent put on last weekend. My mama said, and he came out and he did what he needed to do.
Little James, Bubba,
induct you in the AMA Hall of Fame.
But Stewart has found a way to redefine this whole race course.
Oh my goodness.
Fastest guy I've ever seen on a bike.
Will win his second world championship.
you can call him whatever you want. He'll still kick your ass every Sunday.
What's up, guys? You know who it is, your boy JS7, and you know where we at. We at the rebound, baby, for playoff round number 1 from Concord, North Carolina. SMX Speedway. It was a lot of high-speed action, a lot of high-speed racing, and there were some boys that came back to play, specifically the number 1 of Jett Lawrence, your defending SMX champion. We were wondering what Jett Lawrence, how would the wrist be? How would the hands be? Would he come back and be Jett Lawrence of the past? Or would Chase Sexton continue that domination like he rolled through the motocross series? And of course, you got Beast Mode, E.T. He showed a little bit of flashes of the old school Beast Mode, but would he be able to hang with these young bucks, these Gen Zs, as you want to call them? I don't know if he's a Gen Z. Maybe he is a Gen Z, but nonetheless, he was back. And what we saw in the 250 class. You had guys saying that they wanted to get in the danger zone. Well, they got in the danger zone, and I saw an ass whooping straight from the ongoings this weekend, and Haiden Deegan putting it on the show. So you know what we got to do, people. The playoffs, round 1. Let's do it. This weekend, playoff, we kind of got an idea of how things are going to be. We knew how the track was going to be somewhat of a layout. The riders had a better feel compared to last year when they came into it. So you could see what was happening at the end of the outdoors. Guys were starting to prepare to get ready for it because they knew you got 3 rounds to make a lot of money, but also 3 rounds to really boost your off season. You know, a lot of this is about, yeah, the money's nice. The only time you really pay attention to it is when you pay attention to it, when you walk into the bank and you pop that check open. You can have a couple zeros or a few more zeros. That's where it depends on where you finish. But most of these guys, they know they want to build into this offseason. And when you got 2 guys in Haiden Deegan and Chase Sexton, how they roll through the outdoor season, you don't want them to come in and continue this through a somewhat hybrid supercross track. And then they get months to build onto that. And then they're going to be hell to pay with in Anaheim. So guys like Jett Lawrence, guys like Eli Tomac, and then all the 250 class, they wanted to stop that. So you can see these guys coming back for everybody outside of Jett Lawrence, coming back at the end of the outdoors, trying to get some kind of momentum so they can get into this playoff. So the track was really fast. It seemed like it was more of a, I would say more faster than last year because last year was fast, but it seemed more outdoor-ish this year. It was really high speed. We saw Anderson go down. We saw a couple guys make mistakes, but nonetheless, I think these guys knew what they were getting into, well, at least track-wise, and they were excited to get there. Weather was great. The fans were great. The dirt was great, and action was great. And that's what you expect when you show up at the playoff round number 1. So I'm going to get straight into it. You got Chase Sexton versus Jett Lawrence. Now, I don't even need to stress how important this is, people. You already know. We at ZMAX. It's real. I hope y'all ready. That's my straight 8 mile, like impress your future. I don't even have to say anything. Well, y'all know what it was. because we saw number 4, he was rolling. I mean, he was rolling. He was knocking down Lawrence's and Vegemites because he was no problem. He was showing up the gate just knowing he was going to win. And that was a problem for everybody else that was on the gate outside number 4. But we were wondering, well, that one Lawrence wasn't there. That one Vegemite sandwich wasn't there. And was things just happening because he wasn't. Well, Chase wanted to come in this weekend and prove that differently. I do believe Chase Sexton's a different rider. Now, how different? Well, we saw a little bit this weekend, and I think we're going to see a little bit more next weekend and coming up in Dallas, because I'll talk about him in a second. But hey, it is a must win. It is a must win. But a lot of questions coming in, even though somebody was so dominant, never heard so many people question that dominance. And that's what Chase Sexton had to deal with, because that young Gen Z Vegemite brothers, those Team Australian, you knock one half out, but you need to do another one. So Jett Lawrence was back. But we forgot about the other guy, right? Eli Tomac. Don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on Beast Mode. Beast Mode don't like when you sleep on him. Normally, that's what happens in the scary movie. You're sleeping. You wake up. There's Beast Mode. There's Jaws. Well, Jaws wouldn't be sleeping. There's Jason, Freddy Krueger. Always nightmares. Wake up. That's how it was. And that's what Tomac did this weekend. He came out and said, hold up. This is the only time that the third wheel is okay in this. Well, there's some other times third wheels are good, but we ain't going there. Eli Tomac said, don't forget about me. I'm ET3. I'm right here. Don't forget about me. And he showed up. But all the noise is about Jett Lawrence and Chase Sexton. So going in this weekend, there was a lot of pressure on both of them. So Chase Sexton, dominant outdoor season. Figured out the bike, was going fast in different ways, and he just looked more confident. Even showing up this weekend, you just felt like that was going to roll. But pressure busts pipes. And I'm not saying Chase Sexton folded under pressure. No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying anything. I'm only saying what I'm saying that's coming out my mouth. You knew there was a lot of pressure on him. You sensed there was a lot of pressure on him. If you hear him, there was just a little bit more pressure on him because he knew what this weekend was. Now, truthfully, if you're asking me, and I know this is one race, and look, he can be, if the championship end of the day, he would be the champion. Woo, yeah. But he still needs to do something that he needs to do, and that's to beat the number 1. And the one thing he couldn't do is what somewhat kind of happened this weekend, was allow this dude to come in and beat you. Now, if I was Chase Sexton, I'd be rolling in here. I'm dying on the racetrack. That's how I'm going to be, right? Because I can't just get beat, right? There's ways to get beat. Sometimes you get a spanking, sometimes you get a belt, sometimes you get a twig. You're going to get beat, but it's a way to get beat. Sometimes, if I knew the belt was coming, I'll put on an extra set of underwear. Okay, come on, get some. Bah, bah. In the result, I got my booty whipped, but hey, I could live to fight another day. But those surprise beatings, some of them they leave you nightmares. Well, I feel like the way it happened this weekend, it kind of left little nightmares. The reason I say that is because he just got beat, right? He got beat. It would have been better if he was, out front and fell, got beat, or just an gnarly battle, got caught up with lappers, got beat. Getting beat is never good, but the way you get beat sometimes is better than the other times you get beat. And Chase said it after the race. He just said he got his butt whipped. Now, I don't think it was anything with the bike. I actually don't think the bike looked good to me. And I do think for Chase's sake, there was a lot of pressure on him. Probably more pressure than even Jett Lawrence, because the thing was, whether you believe it or not saying Chase believes it or I believe it, but the narrative was, if you come out and you let this dude beat you, then what you just did does not matter. Now, I don't believe that, and I told you that. A championship's a championship, and Chase Sexton was a different rider. Now, outdoors, we saw him already competing against the number 1 and beating the number 1. I think he was more comfortable outdoors. Things would have been different. Now, who would have won and all that, whatever. I ain't going down that road. I don't got that much time. But things would have been different. But the narrative would have been, if you would have got beat, hey, he wasn't there, so that's what it is. And even though you don't believe it, that's just the narrative, and that's what he would have believed. That's what Jett would have believed. So you do not want that to happen because it gives you a case of amnesia. Amnesia. Like everybody got amnesia in this piece. I don't remember what happened when I remember what happened because I don't remember anything that happened because it didn't happen because I wasn't there. And that's what Chase Sexton was trying to avoid this weekend. So there was a lot of pressure for him to avoid the amnesia, right? Like he didn't want people to think that only reason this happened is because he was there. No. So he came in this weekend and knowing that no matter how dominant this dude is, no matter how many races you win, when that type of pressure on, you don't ride up to your potential. So I do believe what Chase Sexton, how he rode this weekend wasn't necessarily the same guy as a couple weekends ago, but hell, it doesn't matter because this other dude that was coming off injuries and he wasn't 100% and you could see it, but he started getting there at the end of the day. So Chase Sexton, there was a lot of pressure. Now, he actually rode good in the sense of he was fast. He was fast. And that's almost to the point where I could say that's why I feel like it wasn't a motorcycle and there was a lot of pressure on him because Chase was fast. Chase could catch Jett. He could catch him. Like we saw in the first moto that he was losing time and he was coming up and he was able to catch him. The reason I said there was a lot of pressure because you see what happens when he caught him. Like it's like a bigger kid and going to the candy store and I'm waving, a Twix in front of his eyes. He's like, like every time he got right there, he wanted to pass dudes so bad that he would just make a mistake. And when you do that, it's kind of like when I talk about being patient. It's easy when you're catching somebody, when you're in second place, the guy breaks, you just give it on the gas a little bit harder. Like if you watch every time when Chase got close to Jett, watch every time they enter a corner. Watch how much time Chase would catch Jett. Watch what happens when Chase comes out of the corner though. Jett's on the gas. Chase wants to get on the gas because he wants to stay right there. And every time he would do that, he would lose the rear end. Chase's mistakes came from, I feel like, wanting to beat Jett and then almost somewhat rushing the track, because when he would lose his time, and he did this in the outdoors, so maybe I could think a little bit more on it, but I don't got that much time. But maybe I think more because what I said I think it was the last race when Chase, I wasn't last race, it was one of those races. Anyways, Butts Creek. When Chase was up on those guys' second moto, like he was there, but he couldn't pass them. But then he fell over and then got that gap. And then he was able to ride without anybody around him. He was able to ride and he was able to catch Jett or catch Hunter. Well, that's kind of what happened this weekend. When he was by himself and when he would catch Jett, he was there, make a mistake for whatever reason, always in the corners. Then he would lose that time and then he would be able to catch him. And he did that a few times. And eventually it gets frustrating and then you just can't catch that dude anymore. And I also think Jett realized that. And then also Jett started picking up the pace, but I'm going to leave him in a minute. But nonetheless, when you look at Chase, and if I'm Chase, I rode good. I got plenty of speed. Like I can catch this dude. But when I catch this dude, I got to figure out what to do then. Because what I do then makes me make mistakes. And it's just like a tug of war. Like I do everything, I catch him, and then I end up losing time. I do everything, I catch him, I just end up losing time. And Jett's a different rider. And since he hasn't been beat by Chase and Chase was able to knock everyone else down during that outdoor season, they all ride with a different mindset. Like I do believe it got to the part of the outdoor season when Chase would catch dudes and he would just stay there because of what he did all outdoors and because of how strong he was. Those dudes were like, not going to say give up, but they just knew he was going to get around. Well, Jett doesn't think that way. Like Jett doesn't ever think that anybody can beat him, especially him, because he hasn't beat him that much, right? Like Chase hasn't beat Jett that much. So I think when Chase caught Jett, unlike the other guys, they don't start riding behind him as if like eventually he's going to get around me. Jett doesn't have that. He's got that amnesia in that side. So Jett just keeps rolling. And then when Chase makes a mistake, Jett is somewhat, okay, all right, I know he's going to come back up. Like I don't know how I'm going to feel. So I'm just going to keep rolling. And I know I said I wasn't going to talk about Jett, but I got to kind of talk about it and make this story make sense. But nonetheless, Jett is like, all right, all right, I'm here. Then he catches me again, and then he makes another mistake. Now, like, all right, the end of the race is right here, so I'm going to push him. So my whole point is Chase doesn't have that mind control over Jett, so things happen differently. And Jett also knows, like, okay, I do have the speed. I can go faster. And yeah, when this guy catches me, I don't believe he's going to get around me because, like, he hasn't been able to get around me. So he doesn't start racing behind him. And I think you saw that play out this weekend. But back to Chase, Chase rode good enough to be like, I'm fast. His problem is that what he was not able to do this weekend, he's going to have to do this weekend, right? Like what he was not able to do last weekend, he's going to have to do this weekend coming up because dude's only going to get better, right? I mean, both of them are going to get better, but Jett's only going to get better. Jett's only going to get more confidence. Jett's only going to get more healthier. And with Eli Tomac coming back feeling like he's been drinking the spring, the rejuvenation juice or whatever, like he's going to have to deal with him. But nonetheless, Chase has to beat dude this weekend. And so the pressure that he felt coming in Z-Max, he's going to have to feel that in Dallas. Now, I'll end it with this. I don't necessarily think he got to like win. Like he actually need to win because otherwise he's going to lose the points depending on win. But kind of like what I said with this one, like there's ways to get beat. And if you're going to get beat, then you got to get beat a way that it doesn't look like you just got beat down, straight up getting beat. And that's what happened this weekend. You can see with Chase, he tried, like he was really aggressive in the beginning part of the race. Like he got around Jett got around him. And I told you, Jett Lawrence might follow some other people, but he ain't going to follow one guy. That number 4. I think he'll even let Eli. Like, for instance, I think if it was Chase leading that race, that second moto, Jett wouldn't have followed him that long. Nope, he wouldn't have followed him because him and Eli are kind of in the same boat. Like, they both don't really know if they can make it. Like, Eli has a little bit more riding and I would say he's probably a little bit more healthier with the same injury. He has more time, but I think he knows that Eli is somewhat building in his own mind compared to if that was Chase. Hell nah. Like he already think he better than me. I ain't letting him lead anything. So the second moto my personal opinion, would look way different. Jett would have rode like he did towards the end of that race when he was like, all right, I got to get around Eli because this is starting to get to the end and Eli's starting to turn down for what? And every time I catch him, he's starting to turn it up for what? He's starting to get confident, so I need to knock that down. I don't think that would even happen with Chase. I think he'd have been more aggressive, but nonetheless, hey, what it could have, should, whatever. But Chase Sexton, hey, you end up third place. I know you're disappointed. I know it's not what you wanted, but hey, you got another chance to go this weekend, and it's your chance to get it done, really. I mean, you're going to have to get it done because you do not want this dude like continuing just thinking amnesia. That's the word of the day, amnesia. Like you need to have amnesia, but don't let them have amnesia. Don't let them think what happened all outdoor season was the only reason because he wasn't there. Don't let them think that. So you know what to do. Now, Eli Tomac. I'm going to keep it simple. Whoa! Eli Tomac was back. Eli Tomac was back. Now, I said when we were at Budds Creek, there's only a few things. I know the results second moto was like, whatever. He went 3, 4, whatever, right? I don't even know what he finished the last moto. Like, he was like me, Benny Blossom, back in the day. Like, I was out there, but I wasn't even out there. Oh, yeah, that's right. Jay's out there. Like, I was concerned about the fans and getting on the airplane, going home. That's why Eli Tomac was second moto at Budds Creek. But the first moto, what I saw, and then during practice, what I saw enough. And Eli saw enough. You saw the pep in his step. Now, I don't know if it was baby got extra diapers or he found one of those BOGO specials during the offseason, and he was like, dude, daddy is covered on diapers. I don't got to worry about that. But he showed up at Budds Creek, and he just had a better attitude. Like, he woke up. He had a good night. Y'all know what I mean? He got a good night, good morning, and he just woke up. Today is awesome. Well, that was his attitude. And then he showed the same thing at Ironman. And I knew just listening to Eli and the way he wrote and little things that I felt like I wouldn't say was missing, but he didn't have that in Supercross. I saw those in the 2 races that he raced outdoors. So this weekend when he showed up, it seems like a different Eli, like a different Eli. It almost feels like the Eli that showed up on the first year Yamaha. Like his attitude was good. Like he just kind of knew he was good and he showed up. And that first moto, it was vintage Eli. Like, yeah, let me out front. Cool. I'm a dust y'all. No big deal. That's how he rode. And it was impressive because, like I said, whatever happened during the offseason, yeah, maybe need to happen more often. Now, I don't want not getting hurt, but his attitude was right, and it showed up on the racetrack. So Eli Tomac is going to be here to play. And I think, no, I know, if he can back that up the next 2 races, you let him go into the offseason, Eli's going to be there to play next year. Eli's going to be there to play. Because it's one thing like that when he decided to retire, I'm like, man, when you think about that choice, it is going to be hard to turn the throttle. It's going to be hard to take those chances. And we somewhat saw that a little bit this weekend, that second race, that on-off, when he was going on-off, and it was clearly faster. And if he was able to do that, then I think he would have had a better chance. But he didn't want to do that, partly, I think, because of the tire choice that he made. He was just spinning up too much. But anybody that rides Supercross or motocross, you know how it is. Like, if you're going on-off on a flat tabletop that has no lift and the back end ain't settling down like you need to, and you have a question mark on whether, are you going to just nose pick off this? You're just going to back it off. Well, when you get older, you think like that. When you're younger, you're like, I'm just amazing. I can make it happen. And then you end up like I did at High Point, waking up in the hospital like, who there? Who there? Well, Eli wasn't trying to figure out who was there. He knew who was there. And he was like, look, second place is right here. I'll take it. I won. Cool. I can go home, hug a little Johnny. Cool. Where I was laid out. So in the part of my career, I'd be like, hey, man, I'm tired. You know, hey, little ruts over there. I'm tired. So Eli was a little bit more that, like Daytona. In a couple races this year, he was like, man, hell no, I ain't jumping that. Well, even though that was a little bit the case this weekend, I think a lot of that was with tire. And since he won that first race, since he was right there that second race, I think in the back of his mind, he knew, okay, if I hit this jump, I probably would win this race anyway. So I don't need to hit this jump because I'm winning. So the difference to me was at Daytona, he was probably in the sense of like, man, even if I hit this, then I don't know if I can beat that dude. So, like, I ain't going to hit that anyways. And I'm going to just say that, one, I ain't know that he was jumping it, even though he jumped it like 8 times in front of me. I'm blind. I don't got amnesia. I got Ray Charles. I can't see anything. I can't see. But then I do got amnesia because I said I didn't see it. But then I said I saw that he didn't and I wasn't doing it and I need to do it. Well, hey, that's a little case of amnesia. But nonetheless, what he was saying was, man, hell, look, I'm going to just turn the other cheek. And even if I'd have jumped that, I don't know if I'm going to turn the throttle anyway to beat that dude. And so there was a confidence that was missing in Supercross where I didn't see that this weekend. I just saw like, look, I ain't trying to get laid out like JS was, so I ain't going to do it. But I know if I do it, I'll beat this dude. So to me, a lot of things were going in the favor of Eli. So it was good to see Beast Mode back, but he's got to back it up. Yeah, I know you can say whatever. He's back in the stadium. Yeah, he's fast in the stadiums like Daytona, but whatever. It does not matter because it's his attitude that does matter. And ET believes that he can achieve. And when he does that, then, hey, Beast Mode is back. Now, Jett Lawrence. Whew. I know a lot of people didn't want to see that. I mean, a lot of people did want to see it, but I know a lot of people didn't want to see it. I know a few people that did not want to see it. And kid, you played it right. You played it down. But you knew. Look, some guys, it don't matter how much time they come off. Don't matter how much time they take off, injuries, whatnot. If you can ride a motorcycle, I can ride a motorcycle pretty damn good. So I knew Jett Lawrence was not going to be rusty. Like, he would have speed. He was going to have speed. So you wouldn't be like, I need to ride my way like into the speed. He ain't like that. Some guys, when they get hurt, they might be in shape and they might be able to make the whole moto, but they got to figure out the speed. Jett Lawrence too talented. The way he rides a motorcycle, his speed ain't like, he don't need to build speed like that. Now, if he was a type, let's say like Jeremy Martin or somewhat like a ET, like Eli, where they ride really aggressive. Everything's really aggressive. Like, their whole speed comes from, I'm just going to go fast. I'm going to be hard on the throttle. Then I would say, all right, he needs a few races to get his speed up. Well, Jett don't ride like that. Jett Lawrence rides slow, but that's what makes him fast. So when you ride that way and your whole thing is like, well, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to jump around this racetrack. I'm going to go fast where I need to go fast at, but I'm going to beat you by being the same speed this whole time. And although you might be going 30 miles an hour here and I might be doing like 22 or 23, eventually my overall miles an hour is going to be faster than yours because of the way I'm going to do it. Well, when guys ride like that, they don't have to worry about the coming back and like, I need to get race pace, because they're able to relax and do what they normally do and somewhat take their time to get the speed. And it's not like you got to be uncomfortable going your normal speed. Your normal speed is your comfort zone. And the way you just do it makes you like, I don't know, it's easier. If that makes any sense. It's just a whole different riding style. So when dudes like that come back from riding, any kind of like a guy that's really smooth, they don't ever have to worry about trying to get speed back up because that's just the way they ride normally. So in that case, when you look at Jett Lawrence, you look at Chase Sexton, you look at two different riding styles. Now, as fast as that racetrack was, and it was fast. Ask Mr. Anderson how fast it was. It was fast. You had to be patient. Like, you had to be patient. Or you had to be like Eli out front, and you don't have to worry about anybody. And then you can ride your wide lines. You can ride like you normally did. Or you had to be Chase Sexton after you made a mistake and you had a gap. Then you can close in, but you had to have a clear track to ride like those guys. But if you were in a pack and just to get around that racetrack fast, you had to almost ride really patient. And as I mentioned earlier, look at Chase Sexton entering corners. Look at Jett Lawrence entering corners. If you exit like right before the finish line, or where they did the scrub, they go past the mechanics area, down that, straight, hit that double. Those two singles going into the off camber. Look how much time Chase catches him going into there. And then look at the difference between once Jett comes out of that corner, like he's fine. Chase comes out of the corner fine. But even that next one, when they go back across the start and they come back towards the finish line, look at Jett coming out of this corner, very patient, like he drifts out, follows the line all the way to the outside. Chase cuts down, spins out, coming out of the corners. Jett was really killing those guys coming out of the corners because what he was doing and the way he rides, he doesn't go from 0 to 60 instantly. He just kind of just rolls around the racetrack, and rolling around the racetrack is the way to ride it, especially how that track was. And you could see it was just really consistent. And that's how he rides. I mean, even though there's doubles where they were going back across the finish line, if you listen to his bike, comes out of the corner like, yeah. Like he's always like working the throttle instead of going, yeah, like that. And being really patient, and the way he rode, as fast as that track was, you could almost say that track was set up for him. And the way he played this was when he was downplaying it, like he was downplaying, like, I don't know. That's when I knew he knew, because I'm like, yeah. Either when you don't know, you're going to talk yourself in and make everybody else like believe. Like, my golf game, when it ain't good, I'm going to show up with some brand new shoes and some new clubs. I'm going to make you like, look at me. You're going to be afraid of me. You're like, man, that dude must know how to play. It's like when you go to amateur races and you see those dudes with the big old semis, nice motorhome, clean bike. You be like, damn, man, he must be pretty good. And you go out and they be like 15th. And then you see some dude with some beat up boots and some holes in his 7 gear because they're just so amazing. He rode 1 million laps in it and the gear just can't hold up because no gear can hold up. You see that dude and he whacks your ass, like, that's how it is. So when I knew, and he was like, man, I don't really know, I was like, oh, snap. He showed up with them dirty boots on. Look at him. Boy, he's going to be in for a world of hurt. And the only thing Jett didn't know was, like, how long could he go? You don't want to go in there and blow everything out. The 20 minutes wasn't a speed thing. It was just more like, no matter how in shape you are, no matter how much you believe, you're still somewhat nervous. And as that race kept coming, all the scenarios around him was like letting him get back into that zone of all right, I'm like almost done with this race. Like I feel pretty good. The wrist feels pretty good. Like, okay, I'm gonna just go faster. And you can tell that because the way he rode when he was behind Hunter, he just like let that play out. Cool. Let Hunter tow me around. All right, Hunter, you're starting to fade. Like I've been riding at, 70, 80% saving energy because I'm trying to save my body. Okay. All right, Chase made another mistake. Now it's my time to attack. And he just really played that out. And that's why all day he just got better. And then if you look at both motos, he did that each moto. When in the beginning part, look at the early part of the race. Chase was there. Chase actually got around him. Hunter, Jett was like, He did everything he needed to do to get right back in front of him. And then he settled back down and he let the race play out. Oh, Chase coming again. Is he trying to get up on me? All right, Hunter, you have to move out the way, bro. I can't deal with this. And he just did that. And he just worked his way into the race. And then eventually he worked his way into the lead. But he showed up with them dirty boots on. Not the big old truck, nice, all that. He showed up like, nah, I'm pretty good. Like, I don't really know how I'm going to do. And that's what happened. And so for him, man, a kid, I don't know what you can say. There's ways of winning races and there's ways of winning races, and you can win them two different ways. And I think the way he won it was the Jett Lawrence way. Hey, he won it the way he needed to. But when these guys, when it comes to mental, this race is broken down like lap by lap. I'm not kidding you. Almost like mid part. Like there's parts of the lap, if this would have happened, if I wouldn't have made that mistake, I probably won that race. But since I did make that mistake, I ended up 10. Like I'm not lying to you. That's how it is. Like, and there's this roller coaster that happens in the middle of a big old roller coaster that each of these guys, and my whole point is that the guy that can ride the roller coaster without going up and down as much and kind of keep it consistent is a guy that overall, like, that just continues like going up. And I think every scenario that played out during that race allowed Jett to get better, to get more confident, because Eli was out front gone. He didn't have to worry about winning. And because he got passed by his brother, which allowed him to, get in that weekly, like, all right, comfortable, because Chase kept making mistakes, didn't have too much pressure on him. And because all those scenarios were happening, it was letting him like ease into the race and get confidence of the one thing that he wasn't sure about possibly was, how would I feel towards the end? So when I say the roller coaster, all these scenarios are happening, which allowed him to be able to do what he needed to do, to ultimately do what he needed to do, and that was win. But if he wasn't able to pass Chase in the beginning part of that race, things would have been different. If he wasn't following Hunter in the beginning part of that race, things were different. If he was out front and he was getting caught, things would have been different. But because they won and they worked out, you got to get a kid credit, because you also got to know how to deal with those situations and put yourself in that spot. And when the roller coaster is starting to go down, you need to make the adjustment and change. There was a part of that race, first moto, where Chase did catch him. And that's when Jett was like, all right, I need to get around Hunter. Because I do feel like if you look at Hunter and the way he rode outdoors, if you, which is all these guys, if you don't put them in a situation where they might crash, or they're in a situation where it maybe is a little uncomfortable, you'll never beat them. Like, I don't know if Hunter ever put Chase in that spot. Like, yeah, Hunter was really fast, but it's not like overall like fast lap time, he's going to make Chase ride out of control. But it's like in the beginning part of the race, if you don't get away enough, then Chase is going to like get to a certain point and be like, oh, okay, all right, he right there. All right, I deal with 5 seconds, because I know eventually at the end of the race, I'm going to get him, and he knows I'm going to get him. What happened to Eli Tomac? Eli came second moto, passed all them dudes. Turned down for what? And he got a gap. But then that gap stayed the same. Then I think at that point, Jett was like, okay, I got him. Because if Eli would have just kept pulling out and he maybe got to like 5-6 seconds, then that race would have turned different. But Eli stayed there, and Jett knew eventually you just can't stay at that pace. There's always got to be somebody, like when you're leading, you always got to have like, no matter how big the lead is, let's say, for instance, and then I'm going to get on. let's say the first, how things played out, second moto. Eli comes and passes all the dude. And this lead goes from 3 seconds to 4 seconds to 5 seconds to 5 seconds to 5 seconds. It's like in his mind, it's going, especially when it's early in the race and there's plenty of time for like that. If you make one mistake, that's going to drop down. It's literally going from 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds to 4.9 seconds to 4.8 seconds to 3 seconds to 2 seconds, even though that is literally staying the same, because it's a weird thing, but it's a mental. And you start, what happens is guys, when they, like what happened in the second moto, when you start getting that, maintaining that 5 seconds, and if it's not growing at a 10th, or like just a little bit, like it needs to go 5.0, 5.1, 5.1, 5.2, maybe 5.1, 5. It needs to go up. When it maintains the same, like when it stays the same, in your mind, you start saying, all right, I'm running these laps, and one mistake, that thing's going to drop off. And this dude is obviously caught his rhythm, because as much as I pulled away and as quick as I pulled away, he must have found this form, because now he's running the same lap times as me. It makes you nervous. So I think actually what happened was Eli realized that gap was staying the same. Jett realized that gap was staying the same. Jett was like, all right, I got him, because he knows everybody that's been at the top level, they kind of know what happens. Then Eli's like, okay, I ain't going to be able to hold this, so I might as well let this dude catch me. And then I'm going to do what, JS used to do. Let him catch you. Save all the energy. Get all the win. And then okay, when he catches, I got thinks he's going to pass you. Then you start pulling away and you try to frustrate him that way. But maybe I'll do another segment on this because it's cool. But nonetheless, there's roller coasters inside roller coasters. And each one of us, there's segments, each lap, it plays out how we're going to win. But I know one thing. Dude showed up with them dirty boots, not literally, but mentally. He showed up with them dirty boots. And yeah, he talked down like, I don't know, but he knew the whole time. He knew, came in with the fresh look on there, looking a little skinny, like he knew what he was. The dude came back and he did all that work, which was a credit to him and a determination. He did all that work to show up at a race that maybe most people wouldn't have showed up, because he probably ain't ready, because he knew he needed to come back and stop what was possibly going to happen this off season. And I know for a fact, well, at least I know for a fact what I would do. I would not show up at a race in this big a moment, no matter how much money is on the line. And my biggest competition, my biggest worry, I wouldn't show up at a race if I knew I couldn't beat him. That's a fact. And I don't think Jett Lawrence showed up at this race like, oh man, I'm not really sure. Why? Because the last thing he want to do is come in and let Chase Sexton roll all over him, do a danger boy all over him, do that ass whooping from Theon Loins. Because what was going to happen was, one, he's going to get beat. Two, it's going to allow Chase Sexton to believe everything that just happened in the out season, during the motocross season, will continue. And now I'm a different dude. And then he's going to have 2 months to build on that. And then you're going to have to deal with a whole different dude during Supercross. So the last thing that you want to do is come in and get your face smashed in. Nah. So when he talked it down, he showed up with them dirty boots, and then he came out and laid wood to him, and he did it in a way that was beautiful. So from that stat, Jett Lawrence, I know it's been a while. I know it's been a long time. Like, I don't even remember the last time I said Lawrence. Last year, all I did say Lawrence, but congratulations, and you back. Jett Lawrence, please hit it for him.
Suntan, next on fire.
Yes. You came back, kid. Good job. Now, Chase Sexton, you know what you got to do? Hey, you know what you got to do? I mean, literally, you know what you got to do. You ain't got no choice but to do it. And I'm sure you probably do it, or we're going to find out. But it was good to see him. And then Eli, hey, I say it all the time. Eli's back. So good job. Hey, a lot of guys, they hit the ground out there, but it was crazy. But everybody else, they know, look, sometimes you hit the ground, but that $5 million out there, get up real quick. So cool. Good. All those other guys, they rode good. Now, quickly, 250 class. 250 class. Now, look here, people. Now, I don't really know what else to say about this besides, man, I haven't seen an ass whooping that bad. Like, look, I mean, I've seen people get beat. I mean, I've been on the beating side and I've been the one that was getting beat. But it's been a while since I've seen somebody like say, oh, that's what you want? Like, basically, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to smack your face. And you can't do nothing about it. Like, that was Haiden Deegan this weekend. That boy came in here. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know. Like, it's borderline, like, arrogant. But, you could be mad at it, but you can't do nothing about it. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's your problem, not mine. Like, that's your problem, not mine. And we did this podcast smash up thing on Friday night. And I was saying that one of the guys asked me, and he was like, you know, he's talking, is he talking, you know, like, does he believe it? Or what was the question? Something like that. And I was like, no. I said, actually, he talks for a reason. Like, he talks for a reason. Now, he's talking as he's using that as like a suspension tool, like to everybody else. Like, I'm training hard. Everything that he says is for a reason. He don't just say nothing, like, for no reason. It's always for a reason. Now, the problem is that he's starting to believe what he says is going to happen. And he's riding like that. Like, he's riding that way. I think in the beginning, he was talking that as if like he was trying to get under them, but he didn't like really believe it. It's like a good liar. A good liar is a liar that don't believe his lies. Like, he believes that lie is the truth. Like, that's a good liar. Like, I'm going to lie. I already know it's a lie, but it ain't a lie. In my mind, I believe my lie is so good that it's the truth. That's what I believe. I'm not saying Hayden's lying at all, but what I'm saying is, like, it used to be that he was talking it, whatever, and he might be throwing it out to get under somebody else's skin, but I actually think he talks it and he convinces himself that that's the way life is. That's really the way life is. So what he's going to say is what's going to happen. We were talking on the podium. They asked him a question, JT, and he was like, you know, you have some good lines. And dude said, like, I was born with that. Like, what? Like, what? But he ain't lying because, I mean, I don't think he gave him like a present. Okay, here's a present. Open it up from Santa Claus and it's line selections. Cool. And you put it in like a video game, like you're gonna buy the pass, like the speed pass. So technically, he ain't lying. But damn, that was arrogant. But he ain't lying. So how can you get mad at him? Like, he was born with it. Clearly. I just thought it was funny. Like, it kind of took me like, damn. I kind of got mad at him because I was like, man, I wish I would have said that. I wish I would have said that. I was just born this pretty. I was just born this fast. I would probably just say, like, man, I practice and I'm just kind of getting better. I don't know. But that's what, I mean, that's the part that I say a good liar believes in his lies. And I do not mean that he's lying. I'm just meaning like what he's saying is what he believes. Like, he believes that because he just keeps doing it. Like, he keeps doing it. Beginning part of outdoors, he probably said, yeah, no, I mean, dude, I was born with that. And it'd been like, I know they're going to not like that. I know they're going to not like that. Like, now he's be like, I was just born with it. And his facial expression said, nah, that's what he actually, like, he really believes that. Like, that was the first thing that came to his mind. Like, I was just born with that. And to me, that's how he rides. Like, he rides that way. I knew the second moto, and Levi's my boy. Like, I like him. Like, he's cool, but I knew he was going to get beat. Like, and that's not even a knock. That's just because I could just tell the way Haiden was riding. Like, he was going to catch him. And it's not because Levi wasn't going fast enough or Levi did anything wrong. I mean, I think even Levi was after the race, like, he was like, damn, like, all that's because of what happened all off season. I mean, what happened all motocross season. You go back a long time ago, what happened at Hangtown, that first moto? That's that race, like, where Haiden was like 13th and he came up and won. That's where that comes from. Or some of those races where Haiden was in the back of the pack and he just came up. Plays out, people. That's Charlotte. That's Charlotte. Like, you don't look at those two. And that's why I say everything that you do, everything that this kid does, everything matters. Like, we're mental. You had to know at some point, Haiden 1 just did that the first moto, but at some point, Levi said, man, he really ain't never gonna give up. Like, he could still catch me, even though I got this big old lead. He can still catch me. And why? Because he's done it before. So you start racing in the sense that you ain't never comfortable when certain people, it's like the Cooper Webb effect. When Cooper Webb, 10 minutes, you got like 5 seconds, you're like, damn. Like, it could be anyone else. You know, certain dudes ain't gonna do that. Like, I ain't even know names, but you know, if you got 5 seconds on certain cats, you be like, that 5 seconds is gonna be that 5 seconds. I just ride this race out. Not that dude. And as I was talking to the 450 class, that's that 5, 5, 5, and your mind is 5, and then it's -5, like instantly, and that's what happens when I tell you how you know that is because, okay, how can a dude have 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds running these same lap times, and then when one guy gets in second, he don't like, it's not like Haiden goes 3 seconds a lap faster. Haiden didn't go any faster, but that 5 seconds goes from like 5 to 3 to 0 in 2 laps. 2 laps. So if you want to question any kind of like mental thing and what happens, right there, because that lead was 5 seconds that whole time until that one guy got in second place. And then he didn't go no faster. You just start around behind you. Now, I'm not saying like Levi shook at Haiden because, I mean, I know he's not. But if you're not feeling comfortable or whatever, I'm not even going to say it's not feeling comfortable. The problem is the dude that was in second feels comfortable. And I think when I said Debo got mind control over him, because his presence makes people change. And that's a good rider. Their presence makes people change. And you can get up on the podium and say, I was just born with it. I was born with it. And there ain't a damn thing you can do because that dude believes in his own, what he comes out of his mouth, he believes it now. And that is a problem. Oh, you want to get in the danger zone? Okay. I'll show you a danger zone. And Haiden Deegan rode that whole racetrack. And I know people probably getting sick of it. People probably getting sick of what he's saying on the podium. People don't like it. People don't like what he says about somebody else getting in his airspace. People don't like it. But the problem is that it does not matter because you guys got a problem. He ain't just saying it to like upset you. He's starting to say it because that's what he believes. And if he believes that, you saw what happened this weekend? Let's go back. Last couple times, Haiden Deegan said he wanted to wax y'all ass. He wanted to beat y'all so bad. Let's go back. Butts Creek, first moto, what'd he do? He beat your ass. Second moto, like here at Charlotte, he beat your ass. And it was what he said, and then he just went out and did it. It's not like the dude got any faster. The same dude that won the first moto by 30 seconds, that finished like 11th, that's the same dude, but his attitude was different. He, at the last outdoor race, came out, he was like, cool, make mistakes, whatever. Mama said she was going to take them keys. Shit, I just got this car. I just ordered some new rims for her. I just got the tent put on last weekend. My mama said, and he came out and he did what he needed to do. Not because he was like, oh man, I need to get confidence. Because he was like, man, I ain't getting my keys taken. And look, that's what it is. So my whole point, people, is look here. Y'all better stop that. Y'all better stop that because once somebody else start believing, the only way you can stop this is taking dude out. Like taking dude. I'm not even saying you need any violence. No, not saying violence, but sometimes violence is the only way to go. Really, violence is the only way to go. And you don't have to do it, but look here. I don't even know what else, because I don't think you just continue to beat the dude because look, on your best day and his best day, y'all might be equal and every man wins, but that doesn't mean like he's gonna start changing because he like I'm just born with it. Like he's still gonna believe he's just born with it, and I don't think you're gonna beat him enough to where he's gonna be like maybe he was just born with it. I think that's gonna happen, but the only way that he might stop saying that is if he just knows that if you say a comment, like if I say this comment, this dude might clean my ass out. Clean, like he just might do it. There's just certain people I just didn't say anything about. I didn't even want to like mess with. I didn't even want to look at them because I knew I was better and I knew I could beat them. But I didn't want to catch their attention. I wanted to pretend like they had amnesia. JS didn't exist. Let me go by. Let me go by. Please, please. And y'all already know who I'm talking about. Just let me go by. Why? Because I knew they were going to mess with me, and I don't want to be messed with today. I just don't. I just want to beat you straight up. I just want to beat you straight up. And, hey, it's respect. So the other guys, I'm born with it. He is born with it. Don't get mad at his comment because, like I said, Santa Claus didn't drop off a line selection box and said, oh, man, I got a line selection. Yeah, no, he was born with it. But the fact is he'll say that, and he actually believes that he was born with it, like he said that, and no facial and just kept on rolling. Oh, man. You got to show him that you're born with a side of craziness, and you got to serve it up to him because that's the only way he's going to change. And even then, I don't know if he'll change, but, hey, that's your only hope. Because I don't think you're going to beat him enough to like knock that hope down. That dude done going to a different level, and he's going to continue. And right now, like he's going to continue when him and Jett get into it. I mean, his attitude, it's like a faster version of Cooper Webb with the right attitude. With the Cooper Webb attitude, like that's the person that's going to get old homie up there. Like that's going to be his biggest competition because he's crazy. He's crazy. He's born with it. He's born with it. He'll tell you he's born with it. Like that's where we're at. So nonetheless, it was funny. Like, it was great. And I was mad because I didn't say it. Like, I was like, damn, I wish I would have said it. But what I'm going to say again is, Haiden Deegan, all these dudes, they wanted to get in the danger zone. Actually, like, RJ was like, I want that danger zone. I don't know why those other guys don't do it. These other guys would be like, man, have you seen this dude? Like, you haven't been, it's easy sitting on at home, like, wishing you were here. But this dude been doing this all summer. I don't want none of it. I don't want none of it. You can go ahead and talk. RJ almost went into that wall right there. And I was like, oh, man, that sucked. Because RJ was riding good. But it's like, man, if you could say the worst case scenario is like to have dude catching you. That's the guy you want to battle. You just jump off the racetrack. That's what happens. But it's RJ. RJ crazy. So RJ will come back and he'll be fine. You know, if somebody else did that, it'd be like, oh, man, we need to take him to the psych ward. That dude's done. Need to put him up, strap him up. He done. He can't. RJ crazy. So crazy people just don't know they crazy. So he fine. Get back up there. But hey, Deegan, someone please hit it for him. Why? Because he is born with it. And he's born with this. Hit it for him, please.
Suntan, next on fire.
Yes. Yes. Danger zone. They ain't even in the danger zone. They in the I'm born with it zone. He's born with it. Man, I like that. Damn, I wish I would have said it. Hey, Deegan, good job, kid. Good job. Levi, hey, Sakamoto was good. You know what you got to do. Everybody else, you know what you got to do. Like, look, he is born with it. Maybe you got I ain't promoting violence. But y'all know what you got to do. So y'all can do it. Y'all good enough. Y'all good enough, but he is born with it. So are you. So figure it out. All right, people. That was it from playoff round 1, where we saw people. It was like a buffet of ass whoopings given out to everyone. Everyone. And particularly the one chef that was cooking it up there was the one guy that was born with it. He showed up. Jett Lawrence showed up. Came out in those dirty boots. Came out there and worked those dudes. But I'm excited to see you guys in Dallas. We know it's going to be pretty good. There's a lot of money on the line. There's a lot of pride on the line. There's a lot of stake on the line. And some people are just born with it. So we're going to have to figure it out next week when we're going to see it in a couple days. Until then, y'all know what time it is. Man, I wish I would have said that born with it. That was pretty tight. That was tight.